Welcome to another exciting episode of Find Yourself the Questions podcast. I'm your host, Bernd Wenske, and today we have a truly extraordinary guest with us, a man whose journey has taken him from the heart of Austria to the sunny shores of California, all while pioneering new frontiers in creativity and human awareness. Joining us today is Michaell Magrutsche, an Austrian-Californian multimedia artist, author, speaker, and a true creativity awareness educator. His unique background and perspective are rooted in life, marked by neurodiversity and a penchant for thinking outside the box. He's not only fluent in two languages, German and English, but he's also fluent in the language of creativity. Michaell's ability to uncover hidden contexts, resolve paradoxes, and craft awareness solutions has made him a sought-after guide in areas ranging from leadership and hospitality to customer service and communication. He's even been a former arts commissioner in Newport Beach, California, co-produced alongside renowned figures like Robert Evans. Today, Michaell will take us on a journey to explore the limitless superpower of creativity and how it intertwines with our lives, culture, and the very essence of humanity. He's on a mission to reveal the three inherent human superpowers that we all should be aware of: creativity, healthy dialogue, and adaptability. So if you've ever wondered about the profound impact of creativity on our world, the artistry that resides within us all, and the potential for a more harmonious existence, then this episode is a must-listen. Without further ado, let's dive into the enlightening conversation with a man who believes that by embracing creativity, dialogue, and adaptability, we can create our own version of heaven on earth. Please welcome Michaell.
Hi, Bernd.
Hi.
Thank you for having me. I miss Germany and Austria. I haven't been there before. I was last time there before COVID, and it's great to talk to you. And you want to talk? I guess you want to talk about art, our inherent superpower. Our inherent superpower. I would say it's inherent superpower because a lot of CEOs think I'm a CEO, I'm a businessman, but I'm not I'm not an artist, I'm not creative, whatever. And I said, if you weren't creative, you wouldn't be a businessman, because it's everything we do is creative. How we set a table setting, how we organize our desk, how we our workroom, our living room, we constantly readjust so that we feel comfortable. You take a chair, put it on the other side, you're creative. It's not like you just put the chair and you don't care. If you don't feel good in that chair there, then you put it on the other side. Or if you hate that tablecloth, you put another tablecloth on. And what you wear, I look at people, what they wear. I mean, they express who they are with the clothes that they feel comfortable with. Yeah. It's not even that they might not look the best, but they feel best in brown, for example. And some people look horrible in all black, but they feel the most comfortable with that. So we're making creative decisions, I think, all the time. We have 60,000 thoughts a day. I would say 20,000 thoughts are about creativity. I would say a third of our creative thoughts, because a decision, how you make a decision. I think that looks better, or this is better like that, and you choose that person versus that, So you're constantly checking in with yourself.
Tell me, why do art and creativity often remain undervalued or overlooked in discussions about leadership and societal change?
Because we have a problem, a collective problem, which is we look at life as a product. We look at art as a product. I have no education because I was extremely neurodiverse. I learned writing and reading, and I still can't read. I wrote 6 books, and I can still read my books. I need to have the computer to read it to me back. And I couldn't fit in systems. And I learned very quickly I need to be human-centric. I need to connect to people to survive, basically to survive. Mm-hmm. So I'm very good in people. I'm in hospitality, whatever. But what I want to loop back to what we are collectively in. We are in a product. We are not in the achievement anymore. In the old times, when you created a company, the people said, "Oh wow, the guy actually went from being on the conveyor belt. He went to created his little shop, and that was something great. He was an entrepreneur. Today, it's the product. It doesn't matter if you let it create in Taiwan, if you do it in horrible condition, if you have a Nike shoe, if you have this, that, you are the king, and especially if the celebrities like that shoe. So system relevance is everything. You as a human are not relevant, and this is the funny thing. When I look at social media, I found I cannot determine if you are middle class or if you're poor. I only see two classes. All our idols like Elon Musk, Beyonce, all these superstars, and I see the others, because everybody pretends we are like them. But just in America, 60% live paycheck by paycheck, and people are not like that, and you don't see it in the pictures. If you see it in 40 years, people look back at this and say everybody was rich at that time, and nobody is. We live banks that created financial principles that created the game go bankrupt. I think in the last in America, I think there's over 100 banks since 2008 just folded, and they were not like small ones. So we pretend because we have forgotten that we are human, collective human creator animal of nature, that our ability in nature is not to build, we don't create an anthill. We can create our habitat and be totally in systems, and literally you get born in a system, in a hospital, you get baptized is another system. You go to school is another system. You get your job is another system. So basically, you're 90% in systems have totally forgotten, and this is over generations, that we are a part of nature, and our job is to create our systems. Absolutely, I'm not an anti-system guy, but to be in the middle of that,
Okay, let's more talk about humanity. So, in your opinion, how does the pursuit of art and creativity consistently bring us closer to our shared humanity?
Because art, as we said already, art is in everyone. It's our common language. 8 billion unique people. If you and I start singing right now, people might not like it, but they understand if we have a happy song or a sad song. We don't need to speak a language anywhere. And it's our given communication tool. And also the second one, what art has, it gives us because it has no context. So art is all that art wants is be created and be exposed. So if I'm writing something and I show it to you, that's all I need when, for the energy of art. It doesn't mean you have to like it, dislike it, get 100 likes or anything. And that shows us, this is the second point, it shows us our blueprint, what's possible humanly.
Yeah. Many people, they feel a sense of incompetence when discussing art. How do we empower individuals to engage more confidently with the world of art and creativity?
We are so system relevant conditioned, our system relevancy is so conditioned that the system deems you as artist. So it didn't deem Van Gogh as an artist. This guy painted his whole life and now is the best. So whenever the society, the system deems you being an artist, this was with me too. I hit the wall. But it made me survive. I sold tapes out of my trunk. I did all kinds of things, DJ and fashion show producer and all. And with 30, I looked at my resume and I thought, oh my God, I can't believe everything I did was creative. And I couldn't be an accountant because of my neurodiversity. I'm so dyslexic. So I couldn't say, oh, I wanted to be, or could have, or would have. I could only be an artist. And when I was 30, and I think that was a pivotal point, I decided I cannot. If you ask me, I said, Bernd, what are you? And I said, I'm an artist. Because this is the only thing I could actually reference in systems, because this is the only access I had to make some money, Yeah.
Please share more about your own creative voice and how it has contributed to your leadership journey.
What you learned with art is you get an unbelievable self-confidence. Because if I have nothing, I know I have self-confidence, because you literally take a thought and it's an inspiration, either coming from another person or you see something, or you see light, or you imagine something. And let's say the imagination says yellow. So I take a canvas, I paint it yellow, and then I adjust, that yellow is too light, make it a little darker. And then I put on, what is the next color? And then it say green. And then it said red, and then it said white. And so, and if I put that white dot like behind me, if I put that anywhere on there, it has already too much light, just with too much life, the painting, that I couldn't put that dot somewhere. I could, but it would be most harmonious if I put the dot right there. And that's the power of art. It gives you feedback always. Also, it is important. That's why I think it's most important today to do art, to just engage in art, not looking at the product. Because we are so powerless by system relevance. Because, like I said, 60% live paycheck per paycheck. When you see a viral video, when you see podcasts, 1% make 98% of the revenue. 1%. And then the other one are in between, but it's like, and the same is viral video, and the same is with artists.
Yes, I agree.
The same is with artists. Artists, I wrote the book, my last book, The Smart of Art, I wrote because I couldn't understand art makes our life so colorful. Imagine a life without art. It's like taking nature away. Nature and art are part of us. We are part of them. And when you take that away, and why, we get crazy. I mean, it saved my life. I mean, how many adolescents do you see hear a song, see a movie, and don't kill themselves? So, because they all of a sudden see, I'm part of this tribe. I'm part of this human tribe. And art is I cannot even imagine. And what happens today is so you go into systems, and systems form you. They say, okay, you need to do this. So you cannot really express yourself. So, let's say you get the job you like. You're still not expressing yourself to 100%. You express yourself perhaps 67%, because all the other stuff is system work. You like to be a butcher, but you hate to do the bookkeeping. This is the stuff that you can't express yourself. So you feel, and there's other jobs that are way worse. That's why people don't want to go back after COVID. What happens is you cannot express yourself. And when you cannot express yourself, you go to your job, you come home at night. You are not willing to express yourself at night. You're so tired, you're going to sit and eat something, which is not good for you. And then you consume more. So when you're built to express yourself as a human, in whatever you do, being a blacksmith, being a butcher, being a computer scientist, you are a human being, you're worthy because you are alive. Systems didn't create you. You're alive. You have a purpose. Then you do a work that is systemically, that isn't fulfilling your purpose. Yeah, you're drawn to being a blacksmith. But, there's more to blacksmith than being a blacksmith. And you're drawn to that, and you could handle this but if you get to a tech job that is completely artificial, that has you just be good with figures or can adapt yourself, then there's no fulfillment in this. And what you do is underneath, when there's no fulfillment in life, you are powerless. You feel powerless. There's a powerlessness, which you see with the war, with all the stuff, we feel powerless. And when you don't express yourself, your powerlessness becomes rage, violence, and because you hitting on survival. And we talked about this before. Survival trumps everything. Mm-hmm. This is when an animal bites off his paw because he's trapped in a trap. He knows he needs that paw, but he bites it off to survive. Survival trumps everything. And when we are so powerless and so driven by more and better and make it better and be more relevant and all the system relevant, we basically self-generate violence, rage. I mean, this is what women feel. The women since 65, women try to be system relevant. And they I have written one time, but don't ask me where, that women, they can test the rage vibration in the womb already. That they have a rage because of the injustice, because they are human beings. Yeah, it's like a race. It's a human being. It's just a part. The zebra doesn't ask the giraffe that, oh, you're different, you're worse or better.
Yeah, we only talk about participation, but we don't realize this.
Yeah.
And there's no diversity.
Yeah, systemically, you're absolutely right. We systemically deem what it is to be human by reverse engineering what humans are supposed to be. Mm-hmm. And humans are. You cannot say we are all equal systemically, because we are by nature. You cannot, the system is so limited anyway, otherwise everybody would be happy and nobody would talk about nature. So the systems are so limited, what we created great systems, but you can't reverse engineer something to define Black Lives Matter, be this, everybody's equal from birth. You exist, you're equal. That doesn't mean you're system relevant. In the system relevant, that's our monopoly game. Whoever plays best Monopoly wins in that. But that should not project back on humans. Yeah. That the humans now that don't play well Monopoly, they are bad people. There is a value.
Let's break it down to people. So many people experience a deep sense of fulfillment and well-being when engaging in creative and artistic pursuits. Do you think about what are your ideas about the psychology behind this phenomenon?
Because you get feedback right away. So your ego says you got to be system relevant. But when, for example, an artist paints something and he says, "Oh my God, I screwed this up," I say, don't throw it away. Put it away for a month or so and then pull it out. And never have I seen once that the artist takes it out 2 months later or any time later, looks at it and says, "It's horrible, I'm painting over it." Never seen that. I've seen two things. "Oh my God, this is just perfect." Or, "I know exactly what it needs." And then it was perfect. I never saw. So our perspective, through systemic perspective, you gotta be better, you gotta have a title, you gotta be this, distorts us from, there's another human being like Bernd. I'm better with Bernd here, and Bernd is better with me here, because we see more of the whole. But two people see more, or a group or a tribe sees more of the whole, and experience our value as humans.
Sure.
And that's fulfilling. And that's why we do podcasting.
Yeah.
Because it's a true human conversation, not I'm right and you are wrong.
Some people argue that political correctness should not apply to the arts, allowing for greater creative freedom. What are your thoughts on this perspective?
This is a wonderful question, because what it does is it says, again, it's like systems defining what it is to be human. Systems can never, ever define what art is. And if they say this is the worst art, and then you find, after the artist dies, that's why dead artists, they got the artists up first, and then the systems trailing after. That's why you have Van Gogh, being famous now, or one of the most famous artists. And at that time, people say, I don't understand. He's crazy. He doesn't paint grass like it's supposed to be. The sun looks like the haze sky. That looks weird, That doesn't look like the German romantics, everything in detail and almost like a photo, So what I say is you cannot systemically redefine humans, art, equality, inclusivity. You cannot say, I'm here, I have all the money, and I don't care what happens with you, because we are all interconnected. And when you see that swarm behavior, you see when somebody goes to a football match in England, there's an accountant sitting there, and the hooligans run down, making a fight. The guy runs down with them, swarm behavior, because swarm is tribe, and tribe is more rights than thing. And he hits somebody over the head, and they showed him the video, and he says, I can't even remember it. You're just drawn in. So when the world is in depression, when the world is in powerlessness, I don't care if you're Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, I don't care about that. You are affected by that. When the world feels poor, you feel poor. When the world feels not fulfilled, a lack of fulfillment, when the world feels powerless, you feel we are all in this together. That doesn't mean you have to hug the people and kiss them or buy them something. And it also doesn't mean take from the rich and give to the poor. We are all in this together. We have to find a common denominator that we're all human, and that we're all equal, no matter what you think system. I mean, this is always the best thing. I mean, I like to, when you like to play chess, do you need to be a chess champion? It takes all the fun out of it.
Yeah. How can we shift the common perception that art is merely a hobby or extracurricular activity and emphasize its significance in personal development?
Understanding that the product is not what's important. And that really try to tell everybody, because when I just say that one thing to art lovers, I said, let me in one sentence or two sentences lift your enjoyment of art. I just give you a different perspective. What I explained before with the painting, right? The artist communicates with his non-physical, like you sleep. You're not physical. You don't feel your physicalness. You're not aware of your physicalness. So when you have a conversation with your non-physical, oh, I have an inspiration, and your thought is, what would feel good? Because it's not like, how do you put two screws together? Now, we all know that. That's just a repeat in your mind. Remember, okay, I take a nut, I take a screw, and I put them together. But in art, you go by feeling. You can do your thoughts too, but you go mostly by what resonates and what doesn't. So when I said, where does which color resonate with each other? Look at my background. That which love resonate with the other. That wasn't done by me. I was just a conduit to say, okay, this feels right, this feels right, this feels. I was just a gauge. This feels right. I don't have any ego to say, even if I did the Mona Lisa tomorrow, I wouldn't be saying that was me. This came through me. And that's actually, when you look at the Mona Lisa, the most important thing of Mona Lisa is the background. It's not her. But anyway, so that's the most interesting thing. And nobody looks at the background. They actually darken it, so you just see the face. Anyway, so what the art, how we get there? How we get there is, and what I say to art lovers, I said, it's a conversation between the artist's non-physical and physical. And what came out of that conversation and how clear that conversation was is the art business, is the statue, is the painting, is the song. And you see that because there's theater pieces, they are not clear. And where the audience would actually know, and that shows you also how we are interconnected, because we would all like to have it like this way, or we all saying, oh my God, this isn't clear. I wish you would have, or in a song, you would say, I wish you had put more of this in. So we are all interconnected, and the clearer somebody is, the clearer you like art or you dislike art. It can wake you up. It's all the stuff. It's not the looking at art that can still transform you because you were part of the whole, and this came in on somebody of this 8 billion people came in, and that was a connection between non-physical and physical, and that was a conversation. So every art that you look at is a conversation, basically. It's a conversation between the spiritual or the non-physical, or you can say God, and the artist. And when the artist is really distortive, then it's not clear. It's not thing. And I'm not meaning you don't understand it yet. There's things when you look at minimalism that you don't get, because aesthetics is something that you grow. You like Mickey Mouse and Asterix when you're little, and when you're older, you listen to Edgar Allan Poe. You listen to Brahms. You listen to other stuff, but that has nothing to do. When you're old, you can also listen to free jazz or whatever. You don't have to listen to classical. It's just your aesthetic is a muscle that when you look at work or listen or consume art, it grows. It grows if you want or not. Because all of a sudden you can't listen to the teeny popper song from the 60s. You can't listen to that anymore, you know?
Thank you very much, Michael, for giving us your perspective.
You're welcome.
Michael, let's talk about podcasts. This is the Find Yourself the Questions podcast. Tell me, how can podcasts serve as a catalyst for personal growth and change in one's life?
We see it by how many people are listening already. So people are drawn to it, and I'm deeply thinking about podcasts because I did 270 since last March. And obviously people like what I say, otherwise I wouldn't be invited. And I said, why is that? Because I know so many people, there's only 30% of people that stay in it, out in the whole. So I think it's 400,000. There's 2 million podcasts on Apple and Spotify. And there's actually only about, according to the figures I get, is 300 to 400,000 worldwide. And that's not much. For 8 billion people, it's not much. The ratings increased. I think one thing is important, that it is free. It's a human service. I think it's a human service because the difference between listening to us or listening to a government TV or any news show is you and I, it's up to us. We contribute. It's not about a system relevant talk. I'm for, you against. I'm better than you. I'm the authority, you not. It's an interaction, and I call it the second superpower. Dialogue, human dialogue, not systemic. Politics is all a waste of time. Not because I'm saying this is judgmental, but to talk about system relevance and not about human is a waste of time in mind, because politicians are supposed to be human-centric, and it should help us to interact between systems and make systems better, and should allow people to see that they represent the people that there are. And I know that because I was a politician, and it's crazy. And that's why I don't want to be a politician anymore, and I'm just an advisor, political advisor. But I think podcasts is is a key function that we have lost. We are so systemic that we don't talk to each other. So the next best thing is I'm listening to Bernd and Michael talking. Mm-hmm. That's the next best thing. In the old days, it was then the archetypal thing. We live in cages in our caves, and we meet at the campfire, and where we share stories and where we share food. Those are the archetypal, communal, tribal functions that humans have. Yeah. And it's all benevolent. It's not, we're not saying, oh, we got to kill this person or that person, but it's all exchange because it's so fulfilling.
So in your opinion, people are effective in changing their lives by translating the insights and knowledge gained from podcasts just by listening to them?
I would say the perspective, because what I learned is I can look at something, and you see that with videos. They have often made videos to say the perspective is all that counts, because you see a guy running away. I just saw a guy running away from a car. Think he burgled the car, but then it follows him, and he actually it looks like he burgles another person, but what he's saving that person because something came. You see that later. So it's the perspective where I tell you my story, let's say with technology, like what we did before. You tell me your stuff and you agree or disagree. And that gives me another thing of saying, oh, now I understand. Or you say something about that I not expected about the technology. Do you say, it's really this or that? And now I look at these perspectives and I give them value. I don't have to agree with you. But I think if it was all systemic, I have to constantly agree or disagree. I have to say, you're wrong, you're right. But if in in a conversation, I just get perspectives. And, this is gone from all the media because it's only about binary. It's either or. Yeah. I mean, look at the Green Party. Look at the Green Party. This is completely it's systemic. You can change everything.
Michael, what do you think? What role does continuous learning through podcasts play in adapting to a rapidly changing world and staying ahead in various fields?
I think you can, the human aspect, if you bring, let's say we would be a tech podcast. Let's go with this, yeah? And I say, and all the tech people are burned out. You know that. It's not just that they burn out the system, also that, and I'm not an anti-tech guy, but they burn out. And having somebody to share, to relate to. Let's say you were a super tech guy. I'm super. So Bernd, so how do you deal with it? I know you work at night because I call you. You were up at night, and the podcast, to relate to it, change doesn't come from you being in a system. Change comes you being aware. It's just, that makes no sense.
Yeah.
Writers Union, a system, right? You know about this, the strike and stuff. Mm-hmm. They dealt out a worse deal financially for the people that half year didn't have a job. So the systems cannot even, what they promised, they cannot even keep. I think a lot of people will be aware about this because a lot of people, there's some podcasts talking about this, said, why do we strike? Why do we try to have impact on systems when we actually, after half year of work and having anxiety and panic and feel powerless, we're getting less, with all the inflation and everything than before. So, I mean, some things were good, but we getting less. So when you're enough aware, so it's like saying, oh my God, I have a disease, whatever. When you're aware that you have a disease, you got to do something about it, or you got to, not do anything, but you have to make a choice. You have to make, and when you're aware, it's like in a marriage, when you are in a marriage and the moment either party gets, this is not working, this can never work, this is we are through, we grow out of this relation, not even blaming you or me or anybody. It's just we grew out of this. We went into different directions. And as soon as that is thing, you're divorced. You are separated. There's no, but I have to. And the people hang in because of systemic things, it's cheaper to live together than separate and all this stuff. But ultimately, obviously, the door is open to meet another partner. And once you think, then you just unplug. But basically, it's the moment you're aware, really aware, not just saying, this makes no sense. My life is wasted if I just keep doing that. Mm-hmm. Basically, that's it. That's it. Then we change. And I think the podcast, because you relate to other humans and we are all one, gives you that feeling you can do it. You can do the right thing.
Yeah, let's break it down to podcast creators and hosts. So how can podcast creators and hosts design content that encourages and support their audience in their transformational journey?
I keep talking about this. It has to be human-centric.
Yeah.
If you talk about systems, if you and I discuss if the new electric cars will take over China or will do this, it is speculation. It's in the future. It's thing. You could say, hey, where are we going to get, in this context, for example, we can discuss where are we going to get the electricity for these cars. Let's say we can change any system. You know, they don't like this, we produce that. But how we think and see human-centrically would be, now if all your life is in the internet and the internet communicates with the electric car, whoever owns the electrical grid has a power of all the humans. So why would we create a technology that is dependent and not just do a guarantee that we have power everywhere and the internet cannot be turned off? But you know, it can be turned off. You see it has geofencing. Now that would be a human responsibility, because what a human's gonna do when your passport and all this stuff is up there and somebody could just turn you off and you cannot show it. When you are on the phone and you want to do a stock trade because your income doesn't come from a job but from stock trading, and all of a sudden the power turns off, and then you question yourself, did they turn the power off because the people want to get out of that stock? So it separates us, it segregates. Whatever podcast, I think every podcast will do, when you can do a human-centric topic, and you can have system as to what we're going to do with the kids and with this and that and that. For example, education. You could say, I'm working on an education system because I didn't have any, so I have to create my own. When you talk about education, this podcast is education. They say, are you aware that we have never learned to be human? In system, we get right away from kindergarten into system relevance. We never learn, we know that because we have to live 60 years to find out anything, you know? But why don't we learn in the first year of primary school, why don't we learn what it is to be human?
And now we have to deal with artificial intelligence, and we are just on a new step, on a new border, where we have to decide how to deal with this new technology that will come, whether we like it or not, but it will come. But what is our way how to deal with it and how to live with it? And, well, stay human-centric.
Bernd, it's an area in my heart because, and I wrote like 6 articles about the human view on the human value on AI. It's all good in systems. I feel, this is my opinion. It's just a new toy. It's like the electric toy. Now it's the AI toy.
It's a tool, sure.
It's a new toy to consume. Electric car has great advantages. AI has great advantages. But if it's used to get you a new product and not to express itself. So for example, we talked about before with art. If AI would be helping humans to express themselves, not on a tablet, on a piece of paper and draw on it. If it would help humans to express themselves, not to teach them to copy a landscape, because that's also systemic. You gotta, how does a human would say in a landscape, look, what, make me your landscape so like you see it. And it might not even look like anything like a landscape. But that person has expressed his or her essence. And I think AI, we need to everything human-centric. We need to look at this. Yes, electric cars are good, but what are they doing to our human centricity? That we all can actually function as humans, because we can function when the power goes out. But what is if the power goes out? Not just the power goes out, because people live forever that the power went out or don't have power for a day. We can handle this, but the more functions, human functions, like an identification, your money, your passport, who you are, is all digital. That means a power outage is you don't exist, Bernd, when we have a power outage. Mm-hmm. And that's why we need AI. That's why I write this thing, to make people aware, and we can add the link to this episode so people can wake up, because it's not the control and not the punishing, not the blaming. We're doing something to ourselves we are not conscious of, because it works for us, the systems, it works for everyone, and we just repeating what works. But now it doesn't work anymore, and we don't know what else to do, because we just say, no, it has to be, electricity has to run everything, internet has to run everything, without giving us a way out or a choice to not do that,
Let's get back to the podcast. What advice would you give to someone looking to maximize the impact of podcast consumption on their personal development and transformation? So how can you maximize the impact of podcasts?
I always say, because everything in life is we chase fulfillment. And so we are storytellers, and we have to give the people the stories that they're missing systemically, because you get a system news, you get system sports, you get system whatever. But what is it to do sports? Why do we do sports? It's not about always being, like I said before, do you want to be playing chess, or do you want to be a chess champion? That is always the perspective. And we make ourselves right or wrong or whatever. There's no right or wrong in humans. There's 8 billions and they're all different. And that's why another thing is, it cannot be. That's why podcasts support. I think we are a big balancer. Podcasts is a big balance of all the systemic communication. After creativity, I call the human dialogue the second human superpower. And the third one is adaptation, because if you and I don't adapt, we can't talk to each other. So we speak in a foreign language. It's not our native language. We both adapt. I mean, this is a great example. This episode is a great example. We make it work, and other people can relate to it, because most of the people speak English, and they can relate and say, yeah, that makes sense.
Michaell, thank you for sharing these insights into your world of art and creativity, and how to make human-centric changes in the systems we live in. Lastly, what would be your advice for our listeners who want to take the first step towards conquering their own summits and living their best lives?
First of all, do what we said, separate, because I believe that 80% of problems come from systems. Systems make human problems, and then they try, and the problem why it's so high, that form, is because system makes racism. It categorizes us in races, in genders. And now when they recognize, oh my God, we made a mistake, instead of saying, let's do the human-centric things. Tomorrow, we don't have a check for ethnic group or gender or sexuality. Everybody is a human first, and that's it. And we deal with that. And I think that's the first thing, to really get to be aware that, and I always say this, Bernd, this is a great example. So a woman feels their child is sick. She calls the company and says, guys, my child is sick. And the company says, don't worry, Maria, we take care of it. Because that's a human-centric team where I'm not doing my only job. I'm doing the team job. We all help each other out. And we say, don't worry, we take care of it. Mm-hmm. That is, and when you can see that, I say that metaphor on purpose, because that will make you say, what are we doing? What are we doing? Life isn't about money all the time. Money wasn't even here when we came here. Money is a system invention, one of the best, by the way. It's the financial principles that always create a lack, and we all have a lack of money. Those things, when contemplate this and listen 3 or 4 times to this episode, because it's the perspective will open up you more.
Yeah.
I do the same thing. I listen to some pet podcasts three times because I'm so fulfilled the first time, and I said I want to listen to it again to see if my perspective still hold. That is a good podcast.
Yeah, same to me. If I do the editing and I listen to the episodes, I always get more information time by time.
Absolutely, yeah.
Michael, thank you for this informative and enjoyable conversation.
You're welcome. Thank you so much.
And thank you for sharing your wisdom and making this podcast even better.
Thank you. But Bernd, it takes 2 to tango. If you don't give me a canvas, I can't paint.
Sure. If people would like to paint with you, so I will put a link to your podcast, The Smart of Art, The Power of Art and Creativity, in the show notes.
Yeah.
And as well a link to your website.
Yeah.
And especially to the self-aware art education section.
Yeah. And it's 30 seconds. My podcast is very quick. You can do a lot of episodes and see if you like.
Makes a lot of fun. Yeah. Thanks to all of you listening and joining us today on the Find Yourself the Questions podcast for mindful self-empowerment and personal growth. I hope this episode inspired you to ask questions and discover yourself. Join us tomorrow for more insight questions and next month for inspirational discussions on your path to personal growth and happiness. Maybe you're just a question away from your best year. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.